article on things you should know before you buy land in Botswana. The first one was you have to establish the marital status of the seller. If the seller is married, make sure you get proof of marital status. If they are married in or out of community of property, get the document that confirms that they are married in or out of community of property. If the seller is a widow or widower, get the death certificate of the widow, of the spouse, of the late spouse, get the marriage certificate that they had with their late spouse. If the seller is a bachelor or a spinster, make sure they depose affidavits that confirm their marital status as it is. Second point, inspect the title deed or the title document. Whatever it may be, whether it's a title deed, a land board lease, a certificate of customary land grant, have a chance to inspect it, confirm for yourself that the property is indeed registered to that particular individual. If it's not, find out why, because it may be an inherited property, it may be a property that is now being transferred to them by virtue of a divorce. So whatever the circumstances, find out what they are. Don't blindly go into the contract without knowing. Third thing that you should know, conduct a site visit, see the plot for yourself, satisfy yourself that you actually like it, you like what you see. Fourth point, immediately after the site visit, make sure you go to the deeds office or the land board, wherever that property is registered. Confirm the title there. It's a matter of conducting a search to find out if the same title deed that the seller has presented to you is the same one that is registered at deeds or the land board. Final point, payment. If you have to pay your seller, insist on paying electronically. Try doing bank transfers. Try issuing checks if you need to, bank guaranteed checks. That way it saves you from having to battle it out with the seller or battle it out with other individuals because you failed to prove that you actually bought this property legitimately. It does so happen that in some contracts, a seller may pass on before you transfer the property to yourself. Automatically, that means you now have to deal with the heirs to the estate of the seller, who may or may not be aware that the land was sold. You may have the contract that shows that you actually bought the property, and you may still not have the proof of payment. So they could also question whether the property was actually ever paid for in full. So it protects you to have proof of payment for the property. I know sometimes when people sell their land, they're under pressure. They're trying to liquidate it quickly, but a day or two, even 3 days shouldn't be too long for a seller or for a buyer who needs to ensure that everything is done properly. So due diligence is important, and it's the duty of every seller, of every buyer, to make sure they confirm information, they know who they are dealing with, they understand the dynamics, and there's no confusion as to whose role or who has to play what role in the transaction. Exchange documents at the point or at the time that you're actually paying for the property. Make sure you have all the paperwork that I've just listed, file it away, keep it safe. The only thing that may compel you to circle back to the seller is if the Oman card or the identity card has expired before you actually transfer the property. So that's the only good thing that you should be expected to circle back to the seller for. Otherwise, have the marriage certificates, have the Form Bs, have the Form As, have the death certificates, have the affidavit of marital status for bachelors and spinsters. That should address all these points. Thanks for watching.